The year was 1587. On a small island off the coast of what is now North Carolina, a group of English settlers struggled to establish a foothold in a new world. This was the Roanoke Colony, a daring attempt by England to establish a permanent presence in the Americas. Led by John White, a skilled artist and mapmaker, the colonists faced a daunting challenge. The land was unfamiliar, the native tribes were wary, and the threat of starvation was ever present. White and his colonists were not the first to attempt to settle Roanoke Island. A previous expedition led by Sir Walter Raleigh had landed there in 1585. This initial attempt, however, proved unsuccessful, and the colonists returned to England after a difficult year. Despite the challenges, the dream of Roanoke persisted, fueled by the promise of riches and a new life. The colonists arrived at Roanoke with high hopes, determined to learn from the mistakes of the past. They built houses, planted crops, and attempted to establish relations with the local Native American tribes. Life was hard, but the colonists persevered, clinging to the hope of a brighter future in this strange new land. Little did they know that their fate would become one of history's most enduring mysteries. John White, appointed governor of the colony, found himself forced to return to England for supplies shortly after the birth of his granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. Leaving behind his family and the colony he was entrusted to lead, White embarked on a journey back across the Atlantic. He carried with him the hopes and dreams of the Roanoke colonists, eager to return with the provisions they desperately needed to survive. White's return to England, however, coincided with a period of intense conflict with Spain. England's naval resources were stretched thin, locked in a desperate struggle for control of the seas. Years passed, and White found himself stranded in England, his pleas for ships and supplies falling on deaf ears. The escalating war with Spain had turned the Atlantic crossing into a perilous gamble, and the Roanoke colony became a low priority for a nation consumed by war. Despite the delays, White never gave up hope. He desperately sought passage back to Roanoke, his heart heavy with worry for his family and the colonists he'd left behind. He clung to the belief that he would see them again, that they would have endured despite the hardships they faced. Finally, after 3 long years, White managed to secure passage back to Roanoke aboard a privateering expedition. His heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread as his ship approached the shores of the island, uncertain of what awaited him. Upon arriving at Roanoke, White was met with an eerie silence. The once bustling settlement was deserted. Houses stood empty, their doors hanging open as if hastily abandoned. Crops had overrun their boundaries, left untended for months, perhaps years. The familiar sights and sounds of the colony he had left behind were gone, replaced by a haunting stillness that sent shivers down his spine. White searched frantically for any sign of life, any clue to the fate of the colonists. He called out their names, his voice echoing through the empty streets, but only silence answered him. Despair began to set in as he realized the gravity of the situation. The colony had vanished, leaving behind no trace of a struggle, no indication of where they had gone or what had become of them. The only clue to their whereabouts was a single word carved into a post of the fence that surrounded the village: CROATOAN. There was no explanation, no further message, just that single word etched into the wood, a solitary beacon in a sea of unknowns. The word was a chilling whisper in the wind, a final message from the lost colony that raised more questions than answers. White clung to this clue, desperate to unravel its meaning and uncover the fate of his colony. CROATOAN held a profound significance for White. It was the name of a nearby island, home to a Native American tribe that had, at times, maintained friendly relations with the colonists. Had the colonists sought refuge with the CROATOAN tribe in the face of some unknown danger? Or did the carvings suggest a more sinister fate, a forced relocation, or something even more unsettling? The mystery of the lost colony has captivated historians for centuries. Theories abound, ranging from peaceful assimilation with Native American tribes to disease, starvation, or even attacks from hostile tribes. Some speculate that the colonists, desperate for survival, attempted to return to England on their own, only to be lost at sea. Others believe that they moved further inland, their trail obscured by time and the elements. Despite numerous expeditions and investigations, no definitive evidence has ever been found to conclusively solve the mystery. The lost colony of Roanoke remains an enigma, a puzzle lost to time, with each piece of evidence unearthed only deepening the mystery. The scant clues left behind only serve to fuel speculation, offering tantalizing glimpses into what might have happened, but never a complete picture.